Hello friends, and welcome to Let's Bake and Cook Stuff. I'm Mary, and today I'm making a red velvet loaf cake. And that is just a red velvet cake made into a loaf pan. Same thing, same ingredients pretty much. Well, less ingredients because it's smaller. But before I get started, I want to show you this mixer that I received. And I'm going to be using it in my demonstration, but I want to show you. It's from Redmond. You can order on the internet. Details in the description below. This one comes with the regular beaters like you always use for like almost everything. And then it also comes with tangled up bread mixers. These are the bread dough hooks, or the dough hooks. They don't have to be bread, but the dough hooks. And what I'm excited about to show you is, look how beautiful and green this is. Very Christmassy, right? Now, when you use the dough hooks, they have to go into specific holes in the mixer. And this actually has a little washer right here and shows you. And then this one has the picture of the one with the washer. And then that way you can put it in the right one. If you don't put it in the right one, they'll mix incorrectly. And you don't want that. We're making bread. We want our bread to turn out right. I'm going to show you this. This has 5 speeds, plus it has the turbo. I'm going to turn it on, then I'm going to press turbo, and then you're going to be able to see, you'll be able to hear the difference, and you can actually feel it, the power amping up. Hold on. See that? Regular, turbo. I'm going to tell you that I have another mixer that now will go to my daughter because I'm going to keep this one. But I didn't know, this says eject on it. It says eject right there. Mine doesn't have that. I didn't know what that was. And I thought that was the turbo button for that mixer. And so it's nice that it's labeled for those of us who are, challenged in that regard. Anyway, the details to purchase this mixer are down below in the description box. If you'd like to purchase one of these, you can find the information down there. And now I'm going to get started on my cake. As I mentioned, these don't matter how they go in. They can just go in any old way. Well, first I'm going to be buttering this pan. This is a 9 by 5 inch loaf pan. And I'm just using the butter that's left over from the butter that I'm going to be using. It's just the wrapper. And it makes it easy to get it on there and not get it all over your hands. And you could also spray this if you prefer. But also what I'm going to do is I'm going to dust it with cocoa powder instead of flour. And the cocoa powder, there's already cocoa powder in the cake, right? It's red velvet cake. And so it's going to just add more chocolatey flavor and not make it white. Because the flour is going to make it white. Okay, we're done about the excess. Do not need it. Okay, first, 1 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour. Oh, except maybe like a quarter of a teaspoon that fell on the floor. Teaspoon of salt and a quarter of a teaspoon of baking soda. And with red velvet cake, you need that soda. That's going to react with the vinegar and give you a nice fluffy cake, and also with the buttermilk, right? And that was 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. Okay, now that's ready to go. Now, I'm going to put my little shelf liner here so that my bowl won't move. A lot of times when I'm using my hand mixer, my bowl tends to move. So I started using that for this as well, and it works out wonderfully. First going in, 10 tablespoons of butter. And 1 1/4 cups of granulated sugar. I was going to say all-purpose sugar. I guess it could be considered all-purpose. Okay, this has to beat for about 4 minutes. Start on low. And once everything gets combined, we're going to turn it to medium, and we're going to go for about 4 minutes. Okay, everything's combined. Now I'm going to turn it up to medium. That's number 3. We'll be back in 4 minutes. Okay, this has been beating for 4 minutes. I'm going to scrape down the sides. Okay, now we're going to add the eggs in one at a time. That's where it's going to come in handy to have this shelf liner holding my bowl, because I'm going to be using both hands, so I won't be able to hold the bowl. So anyway, it's just a handy way to hold your bowl. And your, I've shown you before, your cutting boards. All right, low speed, 1 egg at a time. We're adding 3. Okay, and now I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and a 1/4 teaspoon of just white vinegar, but you can use any kind of vinegar. I've used apple cider vinegar in my red velvet cake, and it turns out fine. So. Okay, now I'm going to add in the flour and the buttermilk, alternating. It's going to be flour, buttermilk, flour, buttermilk, flour. About 1/3 of this each time and 1/2 of the buttermilk each time. On low. Okay. 1/2 of the buttermilk. Another 1/3 of the flour. Ooh, baby, time to try that turbo. Right. There's the boss of my cooking. Last of the flour. Okay, I want to scrape down these sides just 1 time. Okay. Now, 1 tablespoon of red food coloring. Now, this is liquid food coloring. If you have the gel, you'll probably want to use more like a teaspoon. Okay? But since this is the liquid, it's, you know, it's not as strong as the gel, or not as strong of a color. So we're going to whip that in. And there you have it. Red velvet cake. Red velvet loaf cake. Make sure that all that food coloring is distributed evenly. And now I'm going to pour this into our prepared loaf pan. I'm going to smooth out the top. Oh wait, I forgot to tell you. We're knocking that a little bit, making sure all the air bubbles come out and making sure that it's distributed to the bottom. And this is going to go into a 325-degree oven, preheated, for 1 hour to 10 minutes, up to 1 hour and 20 minutes. And then we'll be back with this red velvet loaf cake. Okay, now I'm going to show you how easy it is to clean. Look at this thing. It's got cocoa powder and flour all over it, and I'm just going to wipe it. It's going to come off, and then it's going to be all pretty and ready for use next time. Which next time is going to be in another day or 2, because I'm making some ginger snaps. Anyway, look, just like new. It says to, oh, you're supposed to unplug it before you do that. And keep the cord clean too. You don't want stuff get gunking up your cord. We'll be back in a couple seconds for the reveal of the delicious red velvet loaf cake. The loaf cake is done. It took 80 minutes. That's 1 hour and 20 minutes. It needs to cool for 10 minutes, and then we're going to remove it from the pan. We'll be right back. If you ever have a fear that it's not going to come out, that your cake is not going to come out, go around it with a knife. This is a plastic knife. If you use a steel knife, a metal knife, you're going to scratch up your cake pan, this loaf pan in this case. So you want to use a plastic one, or you could use a spatula or something like that. Just anything plastic, not metal. Okay, now hopefully, ta-da-da! Turn it upside down. Oh, there we go. There we go. Red velvet loaf cake. We're gonna make a quick frosting real quick. Now we're just gonna whip up real quick frosting and put it on there. This is actually good just by itself. You know how you have banana loaves and pumpkin loaves and stuff? You can have them plain. You can have this plain if you want, so feel free to do that. I'm gonna whip up, this is 4 ounces of cream cheese. I'm gonna get that nice and softened first. So I forgot my cabinet liner. Here we are. 1 cup of powdered sugar. Oh, I need some vanilla too. Just a splash, about half a teaspoon. Okay, and a dash of salt. Oops, coming out there. All right, we're gonna whip that up. Beat that to your desired fluffiness. And let's frost us a loaf cake. You let some drip down the side for some dramatic effect. Are you looking for a cake to take to your holiday party? Look at that. Looks like it's snowing on top. Now I just want to sprinkle it with some sprinkles. This has some snowflakes and just little dots and some dragées. Now my husband, when we eat this cake, he hates the sprinkles. Who in the world would not want a slice of this? You take this to a party, people are going to be like, thank you for bringing this delicious, smaller version of a red velvet cake. Pretty red. Let's give it a taste. I like the end. It has the little caramelization. Fantastic. It is a miniature version of red velvet cake. You can not dirty up as many pans and serve a fewer. Maybe you're having a bunch of desserts, and so you don't want a whole cake, but you just want this little tiny loaf. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing that. I'll see you next time. You take care now.